Brought to you by Black Mafia Podcast.
Hello, Dodsy, or should I say Mr. Andrew Dodsy Graham. How are you, sir?
I'm very well, thanks, Duncan. How are you, mate?
I'm okay, thank you. I'd just like to start off. You've been a professional soldier and a policeman, a football chairman, an entrepreneur, a charity fundraiser, and you took on the big C and kicked it in the ass. So you've done a lot with your short life, haven't you?
Yeah, half of it not desired, but I wouldn't say it's a short life. It's starting to feel as if I'm towards the end of it. I've had a lot of risks, and I think I've got away with a few things. My spell at the Home Office was interesting, if not stressful. But yeah, I'm fortunate, should we say? So I count my blessings, mate. Every day is a bonus.
Yeah. The Home Office. So I didn't realise that. That's for later on, if that's okay with you. Can we go back to why you went into the army and why the Royal Green Jacket specifically?
Yeah, I'm a Forces brat pad, brought up, lived in Hereford as a young boy, and I think it was one of those stupid moments where I was either high on somebody else's cannabis smoke or it was the Hereford cider, where one of the friends who was a couple of years older than me said that he was joining Hereford TA. So as I have throughout my whole life, I went, oh, all right, then let's have a look. And I got the paperwork, and I knew my father wouldn't sign anything. So I signed it for him because I thought he was a bit busy, and signed the back of the passport photo and joined Hereford TA with my mate. So God, how old was I then? I think it was a September, so I was just 16, maybe 16 in a week or so. I then wanted, to be honest, I then wanted to join the police, but for whatever reason, when you had a careers evening, they push you towards that type of service at the school I was at, and it was all sorts of things they were trying to push me towards, and I fancied joining the police. And then this is going to sound quite predictable, really, but one of my mates then said that he was off to join the army, and I actually had an afternoon off, so I said, "Oh, I'll come with you to the Army Careers Office." I went down there. The bloke said, "Well, do you want to take the test? What, because you're here anyway?" So I did, and it's always, you pass the test, and then you feel quite. It's a bit of a buzz, I suppose, and you then start looking at the history of battalions and regiments, and blimey, I was then sucked into the I'm still young type of mode, and lo and behold, ended up in the Green Jackets. I was offered the powers, but I fancied doing something more active and using my mind. So I went for the Green Jackets simply because it had more battle honours, and it just looked like a more interesting regiment to join.
Yeah. It's amazing how many of us that went into the military, that our fathers were in the military also. I mean, I'm a scab brat. I mean, I was born in Germany for my sins, and my brother was a little baby in Malaya because of my dad. And I mean, I can think of probably hundreds of people's fathers that were in the military. So I think it just follows in the blood a little bit, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. I mean, I joined the military as a British person. Obviously, you joined as a German, so I'm not sure it was the same. But...
No. I had two birth certificates. No, that's like, this isn't about me.
That's my classic deflection tactic.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, so you found yourself in the Royal Green Jackets, and it was the 3rd Battalion, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, I forged quite a few decent relationships at training school. My training school was a chap called Spunky Newell. What a top bloke, absolute top bloke. Hard but fair, practical, funny. And I think I might have said to him, I quite fancied the 3rd Battalion. If this, he was always telling us stories about how daft the 3rd Battalion was. It was full of characters and everyone was quite interesting. And I put my name down and hoped for the best. I got 3rd Battalion along with Geordie Nicholson. So, and Ken Worthy and Simon Burns, a few others. Turned up at battalion in Cellar, I think it was. And characters. He was absolutely right. I was in our company, 11 platoon. I thought I walked into a film set the first day. I think Hutchie was Corporal then, Corporal Hutchinson, or Hans as we knew him. Not quite sure why. I could have thought of a different word for him. Simply because he was roller skating out of the toilet block when I was turning up with my bags, and he had nothing on apart from 2 roller skates, and just went past me laughing his head off, and I thought, Jesus, what the hell have I joined here?
That must have been entertaining. Gee whiz.
Yeah, but it was entertaining, but then it was just a taste of what was to come, really, because every day was different. Every day was hilarious.
Just to people that don't know and that are watching, you're talking about cellaring at the time. It was West Germany, northern West Germany, yeah.
Yeah. But before the Berlin Wall come down, I think.
Yeah. So it was like the mid 80s or the beginning of the 80s, coming into the mid 80s. So you're stuck in Germany. You're obviously doing military training. So what's some of the highlights of Germany, and also was there any more postings around at the time?
Yeah, I think Germany. Highlights of Germany was more the people, but there was quite a relaxed way of life. But from where I looked at it, it didn't matter what was going on around you. Didn't matter what was going on in the world. You felt really, I felt really secure and at home with the people that I was with in our company, and other Green Jackets, other units. So I company, A, B, the whole lot. You just felt at home with the lads. So it didn't feel like you were in Germany until you went out the barracks, and then it was a completely different experience. It almost felt like a them and us. But when you, it's difficult to explain. It felt like you were living your life on a holiday, and they were living their life, tolerating you, and there was a happy medium for most of the time. So
Yeah.
I loved it. I just loved it. I loved the banter. That's probably what I enjoyed most: the banter, the blokes, and how everyone was real. You know, if someone didn't like you or you upset them, they told you. None of this modern day woke rubbish. It was real blokes
Yeah.
talking to real blokes. It was great.
Yeah. There was no handbags. It was outside now or shut up sort of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Or someone would punch you if you overstep the mark. You know,
Which is fair enough, isn't it, really?
Yeah. I think back in the day, I mean, I was fortunate enough not to get slaps when I was in battalion, but I think I probably deserved a few. I definitely would have done from the bosses. I loved it, mate.
And did you go on any active tours at all, Dodsy?
We went. Well, we obviously trained all over the place, didn't we? I think I went to Cyprus for a month somewhere, went to the Harz Mountains, went to Canada, went to Northern Ireland, October 84. Yeah, so we travelled a fair bit for a short space of time, I think, for while we were in Germany.
And how was Northern Ireland?
Interesting, good and bad. In hindsight, I look back at it and I think, you know, if well, you have to look at what's happening in this country now, and you think to yourself, would just step up or bear arms to defend the country if it was attacked from within? And the answer is yes, because you probably are the last or one of the last generations to actually think that is your duty. And you know, when I look at that type of attitude now and think, God, I could flip in a heartbeat, you hate to say it, but you can sort of see how they might have felt as passionate and been as militant as they were. Very, very difficult time. And obviously, I think just before we went to Belfast, there was the Brighton bombing at the Conservative
That's right, yeah.
Conference. And then obviously we went over there and we had, I think maybe what you're alluding to is we had various people attached to the battalion for the tour of Belfast. And in our brick, Len, Ginge, myself, we had Tim Uttridge attached to us from RHA. Yeah, Tim is a great lad, 19, training together obviously for a fair few months before we went, socialised together. You just do most of the stuff together, don't you, as a brick as such. Yeah, just an absolute great bloke. And I remember the day well, October 19th, and we went out Turf Lodge, walking down towards the shops.
Is this on patrol, Dodsy? Yeah.
Yeah, on patrol.
Yeah.
We've got to an open space caravan on the left and open ground on the right. And Ginge Mannion was up in front of me. I was at the rear right, and Utty switched on. Great lad. He literally said, "Well." I had a device on the back which meant you couldn't bend down because it would minimise the protection for the rest. We all know what it is. So he just shouted across and said, "Look, we're having to hold fast here. Do you want to swap?" And I said, "Yeah, thanks, mate. I could stand by the caravan perhaps for some cover." So we swapped the road, did a fist pump, literally 4 or 5 more paces. It's the width of a road, so you know we're 4 or 5 paces from each other. He's turned, stuck his thumb up, and then you just heard the crack, which we all know what that is. He went down straight away. Then there was some additional machine gun fire. I think a few shots took Ginge. A few went in the caravan. Missed me, so I don't know. Sometimes you just feel like your name's not on the list. But I ran over the road to Utty, and it was just obvious that he wouldn't have even heard the shot. So very, very interesting first week, very sad first week. And I don't think, to be fair, mate, I don't think to this day it's left me. It didn't visibly, or I didn't think it affected me at the time, but in hindsight I look back at some of my behaviour and I think, yeah, that's not the me of today. That's not even the me before I joined the army. It was inexcusable, pathetic violence when I was out having beers and angry with the world, confrontational with authority. Yeah, just
So just for like the viewers, a brick is a 4-man team, and obviously you've come under attack, gunfire, and rest in peace, you've lost one of the fellows you was with from the Royal Horse Artillery who was attached to the regiment, and also your patrol commander has been hit as well. Yeah.
no, patrol commander was Len Cook. He was front left.
All right. I got you.
Yeah, I heard. No sooner did you hear the crack, you heard Len shout contact on the radio, and then Ginge was hit with a burst of fire front right. Yeah.
And I don't want to be too deep with you, Dodsy. I mean, it's entirely up to you, but I just for me and the viewer, this was in the first sort of few days of actually being on the tour, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
And I take it the tour lasts 6 months, so that must have been well, from your point of view, that next 5 months and so many weeks, it must have been like the longest haul going.
If I look back, I think it went quite fast. I wouldn't say. God, it's a complete opposite of blessed. Unfortunately, I'm not someone that sort of feels like I'm living it in the moment. Really bizarrely, it's helped me in other jobs, obviously, but certainly with that incident, I think we were told to take a night off, and when I got back to barracks, I'd thought White Rocket was, I'd refuse to soldier if they wouldn't let us back out. So we went back out that night on patrol, myself and Len, attached to somebody else. I think there was another shooting that night with a roadblock incident. And
Yeah.
I literally thought to myself, because we were in that patrol, I literally thought, wow, if it's coming, it's coming, isn't it? You've got a choice.
Yeah.
You could, if you really wanted to, you could just disappear and hope no one ever found you.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, or you just think to yourself, well, there's two things that have happened in the space of a day, and I've not come to any harm as such, and if I did, I wouldn't know about it. So I don't know, you blank it out. I think I never knew how I'd deal with it. I never knew how I'd deal with it. But when it happened, just you blank it out every day, otherwise you'd go mad.
Yeah. Just looking at that whole episode, I think to get back on the horse is probably the best thing that we can do in hindsight. And I think you did well, and you've got my utmost respect for going back out on the night, because I'm not saying that other people would have done different, but it takes a lot to get back on that horse, doesn't it? So fair play to you. And if I can just say, rest in peace, Gunnar Rutridge. It's not nice, and yeah, my thoughts are with him and his family, and they always have been,
Yeah, he's a great lad. His family are service. His family. His dad was a captain. His dad's now buried next to Tim in Boston Cemetery. We go there every year. There are people here, that need a bit of recognition as well. There's Michael Lowry, who lives over in Skegness. Every year, every year, on the anniversary of Tim's death, Michael turns up to the graveside and lays a wreath of remembrance. He's now accompanied by a bad brat, Sasha Hyde, who is effectively a green jacket by blood, and she turns up and honours Tim's memory, and so does Neil Adams, and I do. I sort of drive across from here to make sure that I tend the grave or do something and have a word or two. And we've had the blessing of meeting Tim's mum, graveside, just for one day. She just turned up, and it was nice to spend a few moments with her. I inexcusably broke down, just hugged her for about 10 minutes. That was tough. And then she asked me lots of questions, and I found it quite alarming that she didn't know whether he'd passed swiftly. She didn't know what had happened. But the days back then were different from the days now, weren't they? So
yeah, they were. Yeah,
you've got to put all that stuff behind you, otherwise it would blow your mind up.
Yes, of course.
But hats off to those lads for making sure that Tim's memory is never forgotten. As I say, I do my bit, but they do their bit every year without fail.
Yeah, and that, I've got to take my hat off to Mr. Lowry and Mr. Adams and yourself, and just my little bit of 2 pence worth. I think, it's just a shame that the government maybe can't step up and do a lot more, but that's for another day and another story.
Yeah.
Just so that was your first tour, and obviously I take it you've come back to Germany.
Yeah.
And you've got on with military life. So where did you go from there, Dodds? I mean, what did you do? I mean, did you leave, or did you do a couple of more years, or?
Yeah, I stayed in. I did a few more years. I went into anti-tanks. I was asked if I wanted to go on the NCO card when we came back from Ireland. I didn't. I think I suffered as a youngster with lack of not self-esteem. Yeah, a bit of that, I suppose, but lack of self-belief. I'd look around me.
Yeah.
The quality of the people. Jesus, it didn't help having Sean McNiff as a best mate, because you're sort of trying to think whether or not you can live up to the ultimate soldier's sort of standards, and the others that surrounded me in the Lem platoon. I just thought, bloody hell, they're asking me to do this carder. How confident or comfortable would I feel giving these people orders when I have limited experience in the army as yet? So I thought that, 9 months in the army, I didn't think was long enough. And maybe 18 months or 2 years in battalion would have been a benchmark to then look at perhaps some promotion. But I didn't. I went into anti-tanks. Loved it in anti-tanks, but it was clear to me, Duncan, that my mind was not helping me. I had some violence and drink issues that I look back on and think, would that have been dealt with differently nowadays? I don't know. Basically, I just ended up being an arsehole that spent at least once a month at the card room, or on an ID parade. Not proud of it. It's all part of growing up, and I think it's stood me in good stead for my future life and the way I look at people. But yeah, at the time, I thought I'm going to end up either thrown out, or I've got to try and, if you can't beat them, join them type of thing. And I put in again to join the police, hoping to focus on either firearms or public order. So I left eventually, and I did that, mate.
The police, eh? So you went from the 3rd Battalion, the Royal Green Jackets, which is the Black Mafia, and I'd say in my opinion, the best bunch of blokes I've ever knew,
Absolutely.
but also a load of bastards, and that's said in a quite decent way. And then you've gone to the dark side and become a policeman.
Yeah. Look, I won't say it's the worst decision I ever made. But Jesus, it's up there. I've gone. You mentioned it took something to go back out on patrol that day when Tim was shot dead.
Yeah.
It didn't, because I had. I know we say this a lot, but it's certainly in the 3rd Battalion, it feels like it's just everyone that serves with you as a brother.
Yeah.
And I had just the best people and best support. Nobody wrote down how to deal with the mental issues for an incident like that. Nobody wrote down what you should do with Dodsy as this. They just knew, and they supported you, and they got you through and made it feel like it was just a natural thing to happen, and whatever happened going forwards, they've got you back. And so, I went out because I had the best people I could possibly have, and I've never met better than lads from 3RGJ. I've never met better. So yeah, I joined the police because I couldn't get my head round continuing doing what I was doing, a slippery slope. So I thought maybe there's a more robust organisation that's going to control me. It didn't work very well, I don't think. So I was always, I think I was always in trouble in one, and I went into the police, I was always in trouble in the other. So, yeah.
Yeah. So you mentioned firearms. Did you do any firearms with the police?
No, I wanted to, and then I looked at their training, and I thought, well, that's completely goes against your instincts. It's all hold fire, just stand there with a weapon, it felt like. And I then started to think, well, you're more likely to pull a trigger to neutralise someone than you are to start talking to them. So I had an opportunity, and those were the days when, the first people or the last people in the police station made the tea. They made the cups of tea. And they would do front desk duties because nobody was so delicate as they appear to be nowadays. If you're the last person there, you make the tea. It's just the way it was. So firearms was a case of, well, you've got to have 2 years in, irrespective of where you've come from, blah blah blah. But I had a penchant for public order and football matches. Being an avid football fan, you can sort of sense when it's bubbling, and I tended to react faster than others to quell the violence and deal with it. So I went to a few different courses and became a national public order tactical advisor and trainer. So I took that angle instead, and it was a brilliant job, to be fair.
I bet, yeah. I mean, especially when the football is your forte and you enjoy it as well.
Yeah.
I bet that was, to do something that's positive and you like doing that as well, it must have been very good for you. I'm just going to touch on. You said there's never a day goes by and you don't think about Tim Muttridge.
Yeah, well, yeah, and I don't want that to come across as flippant.
No. Yeah.
No, I think there's always a moment. There's always something. I wouldn't say it's 24 hours every day, but there's always something that makes you think, oh,
Yeah.
It's in the back of your mind, and yeah, I just feel guilty, don't you? Because you were there, is swapped to make you feel better, so you can stand up. He takes a bullet in the forehead. It's just that it doesn't matter who says what. The guilt just tears you apart. Yeah. should be over it, but it's difficult, mate.
The years I've known you, you've always been busy. Would you say that you being busy helps you as a coping mechanism for what's gone on in the past?
Yeah, 100%. You nailed it. Yeah, a lot of people say to me, "How come you do so much?" And I just answer that I don't need an idle mind. I just need something to focus on. Normally, it's trying to do something for others, because then you feel like you're giving back. And if you're being really deep about it, you would think, well, yeah, all right, I've got to do something that's valuable, because otherwise somebody's lost their life and you've just been a twat with yours. Oh, sorry, I forgot you're filming this. Apologies for the language. I would imagine there's most out there.
No, it's okay. Look, we're all humans.
Yeah, yeah. You want to try to make sure that your kids are brilliant people, and everyone you meet and talk to, you don't deliberately piss them off or offend them, and you just try to do some decent stuff, because life's delicate, isn't it? There's too much crap. There's a lot of crap out there, and we've got to look after each other, really, because it's not going to happen from the authorities, is it?
No, it's not. And like, I've got this idea, and like, I mean, I speak to quite a few people in my life that I knew years ago, predominantly from the military, and we've all got a little bit liberal as we got older. I don't mean liberal Democrat. I just mean liberal in our outlook. Like, I used to be a hang 'em high type of person, and but I'm a bit more, a bit more. I mean, there's a reason for drink, there's a reason for drugs, and there's a reason for sleeping on the streets. There's got to be a reason for everything, isn't there? And not I'm not saying that someone goes out and commits murder. I mean, obviously you throw the book at them, especially if it's nailed on. But I'm on about other things, and I think we have to look at why we've got this and why have we got that, and like, sorry to deviate a bit, but I'm researching veterans in prison at the moment.
Yeah.
And it's took me a while, but 9% of the prison population is veterans, and there's got to be a reason. There's got to be a reason. So I'm going down that route, but I'm just like, I brought that into it because we have to start looking at different things, because we've got to fix things, haven't we? Because no one else is coming over the hill to save us.
Yeah, I think there's when you say you get a bit more tolerant, I think, as you get a bit older. But I probably, for me, Duncan, it's you've experienced so much in life that you suddenly realise that the little things that pissed you off when you were 18, 19, they just don't matter. And the people you've met throughout your life, I look at it, I call it my last supper, and I first come out with that when I had my cancer. But I call it my last supper, and think, if I wouldn't even think about putting them on the invite list to sit down that table, then why do they have any headspace? If they piss me off or say something that offends me, I can just say, "I'm fine, yeah, cheers, mate," and walk away. It just doesn't bother me. But whilst I've become more tolerant like that, I've become less tolerant of people that deliberately offend veterans, homeless, those that should have support and deserve support. So that there's certain, I'll say it as it is, mate, there's certain cultures, there's certain people that don't behave the way I behave, and I'm less tolerant of their behaviours than I've ever been before. And I'll be the first to admit it. So, Yeah, I am more, you might call it liberal, but I think it's life gives you so many different experiences. You think, yeah, I could probably have been that person that was homeless. I could probably have been the person that just got smashed every night. And who the hell are we to judge other people for their life experiences? We're there to
Exactly.
support.
Yeah.
We're there to support people, not judge them.
Yeah. Of course. Yeah. You know. I mean, it's just. I just want to go back to football, Dodsy, if you don't
Yeah.
mind.
Yeah.
I know you have a big love of Sunderland. You are Sunderland. You are Black Cat. Um, but you also got a big love of Hereford United and Hereford FC, as it's called today. And I just want to touch on that. A few years back, you actually become the chairman at Hereford Football Club. And how did you wangle that? Was there a deal done behind closed doors with a brown envelope? And also, was it is it something you strive to do, or did you just find yourself in the hot seat?
I found myself in the hot seat. You probably know more than most. I get heavily involved in different community things, and a directorship came up as director of community at Hereford Football Club, and somebody asked me as a supporters representative to apply for it. It took a lot of convincing because it's a massive commitment time wise. But I did it, and then I was on the board maybe for about 15 months, and I was approached and asked if I would become chairman of the club. It was a difficult time as well for the club. COVID, I think, was on its way. I couldn't refuse. I've supported them since I was a kid. It did mean I wouldn't be able to go and watch Sunderland every week, but I thought, well, I don't have to do this forever. I could do it for 12 months, 2 years maybe. So I did. I've just become chairman, mate.
Wow, that is it's some accolade. Yeah, it's just Andrew Graham, football chairman. They go together like egg and bacon, fish and chips.
Yeah, but the difference was I remember
Excuse me.
spending like dozens of years on the terraces shouting at the chairman about how he's doing everything wrong, and then all of a sudden
Yeah.
it's all gonna
Yeah.
be me. So yeah.
Yeah. And I just wanted to touch on your fundraising. I mean, I'm going back probably 10 years now, and I was actually fundraising for the air ambulance, and I didn't realise that you lived in Hereford, and I was in Hereford at the time, and it had been years, and I got drinking with this fella in this pub one day, and it was your old man, it was your dad, and we had a right session back in the day. I mean, it was one of those sessions where you can't get off your bar stool, And I found out he was your dad, and I was thinking, what a small world. So anyway, to cut a long story short, I was having this like a fun day for the air ambulance, and I asked, after all these years of not seeing you, if you'd pop over on that day and help out with something to raffle or something, because I knew you was the chairman, and I thought you might bring a ball over to me. And you actually took time out your day to come out of a board meeting. You were suited and fluted in Hereford United tie and jacket and blazer, and you brought me so many goodies. And I thought, wow. And everyone that was around and taking part in the actual fun day was, one, they couldn't believe that the Hereford chairman had come over, and two, how much stuff you bought, because you could bought boxes of key rings and boxes of pens and this and that and so forth. And then obviously I've dug a little bit into your life, and I couldn't believe how much money you've actually fundraised for and what you do for the community. I mean, you know, you're nearly a pensioner and you're running over mountains, mate.
I was a bit
You
harsh.
still go running.
I did hear you. You just slipped that in there then.
What's that?
Just trying to be nice and then just have to hit me with you're nearly a pensioner.
Well, you are older than me, aren't you?
Oh yeah, all right. For the benefit of the people watching, 3 years older. Yeah, not
It,
not
that,
yeah.
no, but no, it's amazing. I mean, if I went running, I'd probably make the bus stop. But you're going over hills, and you're still doing it now.
I enjoy
What
it.
drives you?
What? Sorry.
What drives you to do that?
I don't know. It's just because I can, and some people can't. You know, we've got people. If you think there's a chap. We serve with a company. It's not his fault, but a company. And he's got MS now. That's Rich
Oh
Pencil.
yes,
Yeah,
yeah, I know.
he found me on Facebook many years back, and threw a phone call in, and we just chatted. He remembered me from battalion, and we just chatted, and I became aware of the impact that his illness has had on him. And you just have to look at people like that, and people that serve now and lose a limb and whatever. The things that they do for others is inspiring. And if you've got the opportunity to do something like fundraise or whatever, I just think it's got to be done. It just makes me feel better as well, from a purely selfish point.
Yeah, yeah. The feeling of helping others as I've got older, the feeling of trying to do your best for someone else makes you sleep better at night. I will say that.
Yeah,
Yeah. Like, and just a quick mention on Richard. Yeah, he's a top geezer, and you know, to have them struggles. I mean, he's done really well to get where he's got to, because I know that he, even though he's got his problems, he tries his best to arrange get-togethers and things, and that's good on him to do that, isn't it?
yeah, and it's quite stressful on him as well, because I do wind him up quite a bit. So yeah, but we had one last week in Houston in the usual pub. We had a decent get together, a few drinks and a meal. But he's a good lad, you know. He's keeping a lot of other people in touch with each other, which is really important for our mental health and probably for our physical health as well now.
I think so, yeah. Like, I mean, I remember when he was badgering me a few years back, and I still haven't been to a reunion. I still haven't been to a get together as such. I have met one or two people, just me and them. I went to see JJ with my brother once, and I've gone over to see Willie Wilson, and a couple more. But I think it comes down to having the confidence and the right frame of mind at that time, isn't it? You know?
Yeah, yeah, it is. Yeah.
It
There's a
is,
few
yeah.
people from Birmingham that do turn up. They come down on the train. The last one last week. Oh, I'll put a shout out just to ask if they've got home now, because I am aware that Punchy Bailey and Wigsy got on the train after the do, and I think they were asked to get off the train at one place for annoying some people. So some things don't change. I hope they're
Yeah,
listening.
yeah. What's one thing that you would change if you could, Dodsy, in the world now, big or small?
Oh Christ. Yeah, the global order, the control that the heads of all the countries have through the legal systems and through the political systems. We're too controlled. I feel like we're just, it's like a real life Hunger Games, you know, and taxation and benefits is the weapons of choice, where they control you left, right, and centre. It would be so much easier to have someone in power that said, we're just going to focus on everybody's mental, physical health, make sure they've all got enough water, food, heat, and a roof over their heads. Jesus, it's not hard. It really isn't hard. There's so much. It just frustrates the arse off me. It's the first thing people ask is, "Oh, how much are you worth? Or how much is your house? Or how much is your car?" And really, the first thing they should ask is, "Are you all right, mate?"
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
How difficult? And if they're not, try and help. So I'd change that, people's mindsets. Let people focus on things that are important, and that's people, not possessions. So that's what I'd change if I could. But
Yeah. It's like two things that I've always tried to live by is life is as hard as you make it. And I know it's a cliche, but I stand by that. But what I will say is trying to live like that at this moment in time is very hard because people keep jumping into your life on purpose, and it's not friends or family, it's government intrusion. And all I want is my life to be simple, and it can't be simple because of external factors. And the other one is I think of a football pitch and a football game, and I think, and this is the way I see it, football is a simple game, and all these people come along and they try and make it like really complicated. And it's quite simple. Pass the ball around your players and score a bloody goal. You know what I mean? And that's all it's about. You
I think
know. But anyway,
I think there's too many egos in every walk of life, mate. And you know, since I had my when I had that run in with the big C, I came out of that and thought that life isn't as rigid as it should be, or as it needs to be. So just mellow out a bit more and just look after the people around you. And it's a different outlook. It just makes you feel better.
yeah. I've got one last question for you, Dodsy, because believe it or not, we've nearly done an hour. So
Jesus.
I want to ask you one question.
Go on, mate.
What does the future hold for you?
Wow, that's a brilliant question. Oh, right, okay. Obviously, the business stuff is all just going on. But recently, we set up a charity that I've been dealing with or trying to set up for many, many years, to help people who are homeless and help veterans. And it's called Shape 360, and it's about support, about health, about aspirations, about personal, professional goals, purpose, and then environment. That's what Shape is. And 360 is go back to the start and make sure they're still supported. So it's probably looking after people how your platoon would have looked after you on a daily basis. And I'm setting this, I've set this charity up. We're just about to take a block of houses in Birmingham to put people in, and then work with them for their mental and physical health and get them back into society where they want to be. We're about to talk to the MOD for some veterans houses on MOD land. It's just, charity, mate. Charity. If I have a life, I can do more for others and stop whinging about little crappy things that happen to you. So that's the future for me. Do as much as I can for other people that are struggling.
And I'm cheating a little bit. Just for the people out there that are struggling themselves, you got any words of encouragement for them?
Yeah, just remember that the only barriers to being healthy in your mind are created by you. The reality is, if there's someone there that will listen, pick the phone up and call them, and don't ever say no one's there to support me, because there is. And if it's anyone that was in 3RGJ, bloody hell, they can email me, Facebook me, phone me, and they could do the same to you as well, I know. And in fact, every bloody 3RGJ person I've recently met, I know would pick the phone up and help someone else that was serving. So that's all I'd say is someone will listen and someone will help. Just don't suffer. Don't suffer in silence, because we've all been there.
We have. And just to add a layer onto that, I was on my backside about 7 years ago, and I reached out to you, and you actually pulled me off my backside, and I can't say enough to you to say thank you. So you're the top man, Mr. Dodsy, Graham. You're a top dude, and I hope you're succeeding whatever you're doing. And if you send over the link to Shape, I'll make sure it's on the bottom of this video, bruv.
Oh, thanks, mate.
Yeah,
Thanks.
and
Nice words, mate. Thanks.
And I don't think we've done enough on the podcast, and I'm sure I'll invite you back in a few months' time for another one and see where we're at. So thank you very much. I really do appreciate it, your time, because I know it's precious, and I've nailed you down and I've got hold of you, and it's really good. And thank you very much, mate.
Oh, I thoroughly enjoyed chatting again, buddy. And I'll catch you up soon. We'll go out for a pint.
Absolutely. Right, you take care, bruv.
Thanks, bud. Take care.